Hey everybody, it's me, Super Paul Games. I almost forgot to hit record. I'm like, Durr! Welcome to White Box, a brand new LP. Well, for me. Hurry up, Slowpoke, you're gonna be late.
Hey, I'm not slow, you're just going way too fast.
Huh? Are you saying you can't keep up with a girl? That's pretty pathetic.
No, I'm saying you're way too reckless. You're running like a drunk man.
Scaredy cat, you're a scaredy cat.
Alright, fine. When you speed through a pit hole and fall off your bike, I won't stop for you. Instead, I'll just laugh. How's that?
Memories. Memories. They fill up my mind like water slowly dripping into a bucket. Was it a long time ago or not? I hardly remember. I've been here so long, surrounded by white and fake smiling faces. I've lost all track of time. I don't like looking at clocks. They only make me melancholy. Who wants to be reminded that they're spending the last days of their life in a small white room like this, shoved into a corner like an unwanted Christmas present? You can open me. Probably I won't set foot outside this room again. At least not this institution. Not this time. The sound of laughter reverberates inside my skull. I want to tune it out. I can hardly believe that the person in my thoughts was really me. It seems so unbelievable. I used to be happy. I used to cycle everywhere in the summer. I cycled so much my skin got tanned and turned dark brown under the warm sunshine. I loved being outside. I used to hunt for bugs in the forest when I was little, getting all excited if I caught a cicada. Ah, I got one! Or saw a uniquely colored stag beetle. I still have the old dried out cicada shells from my childhood in the shoebox in the drawer of my bedroom. Wow, the hollowed out corpse of the bugs you kidnapped. It's not like I'll be able to see it again though. It's just a useless memory. If I can't see it, I can't touch it. Does it really exist? Certainly not to me. Not anymore. My world has shrunk so rapidly during the past month. I had such a peaceful, serene life. Existing in my small home out in the country, the forests were my garden. I played there with my friends even after we became too old to play and started becoming interested in fashion and boys and dicks. When we were little, we had water fights with toy pistols in the forest, and games of hide and seek that lasted for hours. When we were older, we still did those kinds of silly games, but we also sat on the branches of trees and talked about things like emotions and growing boobs and having periods. You know, I miss all that. I miss the sound of cicadas chirping in the bushes. I miss the warm sunshine spilling down through the leaves and lighting on my face. I miss the fields filled with sunflowers, bright yellow like butter when they began to bloom. I miss the well-beaten path I took to school, like canola blossoms that waved in the breeze. Now that's all changed. There's no lighthearted laughter anymore, no hunting for cicadas, no stargazing at night, no snowball fights in winter. No cycling down sunburnt, dusty old roads to school. There's just this room, and this bed, and my oversized pajamas, and the clock, and me. I don't like looking at the clock, though. It's too depressing. I don't want to know how much time I've wasted in here. I just want it all to hurry up. Put it on fast forward and finish as quickly as possible. I'm so tired all the time. I'm so tired. Please just let it end. Please. February 10th.
If it isn't my favorite little patient, how are you doing today? I'm not little.
Oh wait, what's the name?
I'm not little.
What was that?
I said I'm not little. I'm nearly 15. I'm large and in charge, son.
Of course, sorry kid. When you reach my age, everybody still in education seems to be little. Everybody who's still alive is little.
You're not even that old yourself, not like the other doctor. He's like Methuselah. He's like the Crypt Keeper.
Well, I'm flattered. Still to a teenager, 29 must seem almost like ancient, right?
No, not so much. You're the person closest to my age who still bothers to visit.
Oh, that's sad. This exchange happens every day between my doctor and I. My doctor always smiles. He likes to tell bad jokes and always exaggerates his apparent old age. When he gets up from his chair after he's taken my blood pressure and written down some notes on my chart, he groans like an old man and rubs his knees. I'm getting too old for this. This is what he says, then he laughs, imploring me to laugh along with him. Won't you laugh with me, please? I don't laugh because I've seen him do this so many times. It isn't funny. It's like watching the same episode of a TV drama over and over again, or eating stale rice for every single meal. After a while, it becomes tiring. Even though my doctor carries out this pantomime farce of being an old man, he has far more life left than I do. His silly jokes make me feel gloomy. The nurses who tend me are all middle-aged, and my previous doctor was around 60. He made me feel uncomfortable, and his long bony fingers and gaunt face, so... acting like a spoilt child. I asked for another doctor. I didn't want to while away my last days in bed being tended to by someone who looked like a medieval wood carving of the Grim Reaper. That would be too depressing. That's how I ended up with this guy. I didn't think I'd get so lucky, but my new doctor's actually fairly close to the ideal attractive guy you see in girls' comics. What? Maybe he could even be the hero in such a story. And I always thought after spending years being worn down in medical school and studying rigorously, all doctors would be crabby and bad-tempered, with bags under their eyes and perpetually annoyed scowls. Hey, that describes me. After wasting so many, except for the doctor's school, after wasting away so many years of their life for the sake of healing others, I think an ill temperament would be forgivable to the people in this profession, even if they do get paid a lot of money. However, my doctor isn't like all that. He's goofy and silly, unlike Goofy, and tells a lot of silly stories, but he seems to be genuinely sweet and earnest too. And he is quite pretty. I used to date a girl who would say that. She wasn't American, French was her natural language, so I kept telling her, in English, guys don't like to be called pretty. But she'd be like, but you are pretty. And I'm like, But that doesn't mean anything. It's not like anything could ever come of this. My situation hasn't changed at all, even though my doctor has. It all feels so hopeless.
Hey, what's wrong, kid? You look a little gloomy.
Noticing the bitter look on my face, he asked me this question. It's an innocent question, spoken with genuine concern for my condition, but still, it makes me irritated. Even though he is well-meaning, he really is dense. Lying in bed, I stare up at the white ceiling, my gaze affixed on the metal ceiling fan. I thought this many times before, but it looks somewhat vicious. It's too sleek, too shiny to exist in a relatively small rundown hospital out in the middle of nowhere like this. It feels like an intruder. It's not turned on, however, because it's in the middle of winter. There's no point. I'm glad for that. The whir of the fan, coupled with the ticking of that irritating clock, would probably end up driving me insane. I think I could sit up if I wanted to, but right now, I don't want to. What's the point in sitting up anyway? Soon even that will be a luxury I can't afford.
What do you think's so wrong?
Oh. That must be her being angry.
What do you think's wrong? If you seriously have to ask, you're a complete idiot! Yeah, of course, I'm sorry, I was a little worried, okay? You're a doctor! You're a doctor! You're paid to worry about me, so it's meaningless!
Well, maybe I can understand why you would be angry, but...
If you can understand, then don't ask me any more dumbass questions! What's the point in all the small talk anyway? It's not gonna help anything!
That's true, but I thought maybe you needed a friend. It must be lonely.
You're not my friend, you're my doctor! You're an old man, remember? And I'm just a kid, we got nothing in common! You can even begin to understand how I feel! So just shut the fuck up, fatty! And leave me alone!
I apologize, it was foolish of me. I've never been ill before, so no, I can't understand. I imagine you don't want my sympathy, so,
It's worthless! It won't do a thing! Look at me with those sad, dreamy eyes, saying you're so sorry! It's all because you know I'm a lost case! You can't do a thing, so I don't want you here!
Even though I'm getting emotional, my voice is cold and emotionless. I think I must have cried away all my tears already. I've had a while to come to terms with my illness. After all, I was diagnosed about 2 months ago in the beginning of December, and I've been in and out of the hospital since then. Now, however, I don't think I'm going anywhere. Truly, this is the end game of my life. I just need to wait it out. At this point, I've gotten tired. I'm tired of crying. I'm tired of fake smiles, and I'm tired of sympathy. It doesn't help. It's so worthless. It has even less value to me than a cheap, lukewarm, convenience store bottle of Pocari Sweat. At least the latter could stop being thirsty. Whilst the former doesn't do a damn thing. It doesn't stop me being ill, so... What's the point? Alright, I'll leave you alone for now, but kid?
What?
He sighs and looks down at his feet, scratching his head. He hasn't been a doctor for very long. He's not very good at this. Sometimes he's unprofessional and gets too chatty with me. He's always trying to cheer me up. I think I'm a lost cause. I don't know why he bothers. Besides, even if I am happy, what does it matter? What does it accomplish? It won't change anything.
I don't know what to say.
After a pause, he seems to give up, letting his arms fall to his sides pathetically.
I can't tell you to cheer up. It would be wrong of me. Yeah, just hang in there, kid. I will hang in there till I die. It's not like I got any choice. Great choice of words. Just keep doing what you do until you die. What you gonna do? Thanks. Yeah, I'll see you later. Do your chores then, okay? Whatever. Bye.
Looking away awkwardly, he bids farewell and leaves, closing the door behind him gently. As I stare at the door, I start to feel a little bit guilty. It's not as though my illness is his fault. He's only trying to cheer me up. Maybe it's rude of me to resist so forcefully. But what's the point in pretending to be happy just for his sake? I'm not happy! I haven't been happy in a while! I shouldn't have to hide this! One of the perks of dying, I think, is that you're no longer bound by rules of etiquette or common courtesy. Everybody gives you a break. They let you be as cruel, as caustic, as bitter as possible. You can take off the social constraints. It's a very empty privilege, though. That is because whilst you're allowed to be upset and angry with no repercussions, it doesn't change the sad, mournful look in the eyes of others. It doesn't stop them pitying you, judging you, and maybe at the same time feeling superior to you. My only privilege is an empty one. I don't want it anymore. I think deep down, I don't really want to spend the last days of my life being angry, pushing everyone away. I almost want to call my doctor back and apologize. Tell him I don't mean to be this way, but I can't help it. It's too difficult to smile along with his lame-ass jokes. Everything feels so empty. Not only my body, but my soul hurts. I'm in pain. Everything hurts. Please tell me what I should do. I'm only 14, even though I argued with you. I'm only a child. I'm so young. There's so many things I haven't done with my life. I'm not angry. I'm just sad. It's the kind of sadness you probably couldn't understand. Maybe I hate you because you can't understand, though you pretend that you do. But it isn't really hate. I don't hate you, Doc. Come back. I don't want to spend another long, lonely day in this room all by myself, please. But the words don't come. February 18th.
Is it really snowing? Isn't it?
Oh, wait. Who is saying this?
It's really snowing, isn't it? Yeah, I guess so. Are you chilly? It might be a little too cold in here. No, it's fine. I'm used to being cold. Hey now, that isn't something somebody in the hospital should say, you know? You shouldn't get used to subpar treatment. That's kind of sad. Well, this is only a small hospital, but the budget isn't very large either. So if it's a little cold, I don't mind. It doesn't make any difference in the long run. I suppose not, but that's a kind of gloomy way of looking at it.
You know, I hate to, but I agree with the protagonist of the story. If the doctor's like, just be happy, she's dying. She's gonna have a reason to be sad if she wants to be.
I'm quite a gloomy person. Well, it's not like I can't understand that.
My doctor and I sat together in my room. Him sitting on the chair beside my bed, me sitting upright and swaddled in my duvet like a newborn child. I held it tightly around me, shivering just a little. The doctor is right, it is a little bit cold in here. Still, that's only to be expected during the winter.
I think it's probably a psychological thing anyway. Psychological?
He tilts his head to one side, questioningly, looking like a small bird, ready to peck crumbs off the ground.
Yeah, I mean, like, because this room is white, and the sheets are white, and my pajamas are white, and the clock on the wall is white, and your skin is white, stupid whiteys. If the view outside my window is white too, I don't know. Whatever.
I shrug.
It creates a cold atmosphere. Even if the heating was turned up, I don't think it'd make a difference. Well, that might be true. White is kind of depressing color, isn't it? Maybe it'd be better if we repainted the whole thing.
I smile weakly. I don't feel confrontational today. Instead, I feel weak, drained, resigned. Like the snow falling outside my window, my moods are delicate. My anger melts away quickly, often revealing that there was nothing underneath it to begin with. my feelings change sporadically throughout the day, cycling between anger, sadness, fear, and a dull kind of acceptance. I guess this is because I've had so much time to think. My doctor gives me a sweet smile. It's the kind of smile you'd expect a male idol to wear during a signature signing event. I bet my female friends at school would adore him. Maybe if my friends had ever seen my new doctor, they'd be given enough incentive to keep coming to visit me. What's your favorite color, kid?
Orange, I think.
Like the ribbon you wear in your hair?
Oh,
I blink, a little surprised.
I didn't know you noticed. I don't wear them anymore.
I used to tie my hair back in braids with 2 orange ribbons, the style I typically wore my hair to in school to every morning. However, after a while, this pretense that I might actually leave my hospital and go outside seemed too ridiculous to keep up. There was no point in trying to look pretty if I was only going to lie in bed, I reasoned, so I stopped wearing those ribbons a long time ago. I'm a little flattered that he remembered. I took them only a few days after he became my newly assigned doctor.
Well, they were very colorful. They stood out. It's a little sad you don't wear them anymore. It brightened this room out. I don't know. It just seemed like a waste of time. If something makes you happy, it's never a waste of time. I don't know if pretending I'm okay. I don't know if pretending I'm okay when I'm not makes me happy.
He sighed. Even though he has that boyish face, at times he really does look his age. He seems tired.
Sometimes pretending can make you happy, even if only for a little while. But isn't that just a cheap escapism?
Honey, most of life is cheap escapism.
But you're probably right. Every person needs a little cheap escapism from time to time, though. Life can be pretty hard.
He looks embarrassed.
I'm sorry. I'm sure you know that better than anybody.
He seems anxious. It's somewhat rare for me to be in a cooperative mood, so he's probably worried he's offended me with that careless remark. It's rare that we have relaxed conversations like this. It seems like he doesn't want to end it. Well, I could get mad if I wanted to. I do have a right after all, but right now, I just feel too tired. Like the orange ribbons, being angry feels like a waste of time. I'm just pretending to be a full human by holding on to these petty emotions, but they'll just disappear in the end. Transient like the snow falling outside my window.
No, you're right. I'm not mad.
I shiver into my blankets, wrapping them around my shoulders even tighter.
Life is just really hard sometimes. I wonder, what's the point in it all?
He smiles sadly, staring out the window, the cold air frosting up the glass.
You're asking the wrong person there, kid.
We sit in companionable silence for a while, looking at the falling snow. The next day I decide to wear my orange ribbons after all, just this once. For some reason, the smile he gives me when he sees this flash of color adorning my white room makes my heart flutter. Ooh, she's got a crush. February 25th.
It's no good. I can't win it all.
Oh wait, that must be... It's no good. I can't win it all.
It's only to be expected if you never played before.
I stare down at the chess set in irritation. A childish pout. Oh, I had it right the first time. Pout on my face. Even though we've played 3 games so far, I've lost every single one. In our first game, he defeated me in only a handful of moves.
Shouldn't you at least go a little easy on me if that's the case?
He laughs. But I thought you wouldn't like it if you won simply because I wasn't trying my best. You don't seem like the type of person who would enjoy that kind of victory.
Well, yeah, I guess that's true, but you can at least pretend you didn't lose intentionally.
I'm sorry, but I can't lie like that.
Wait, what the fuck? I'm sorry, but I can't lie like that. Doctor's honor. I thought this was a flashback. I'm sorry. That's Scout's honor, you twit. Yeah, it's not the first time I've been called it, but I still beat you. You're really proud of yourself? You're proud for beating a young girl at chess, you jerk?
I puff out my cheeks like a squirrel, arms folded petulantly. I know I'm being childish, but chill. Acting like a child is fun. It means I don't have to think about my reality enclosed around me like a coffin. Instead, I can just play around, act like the kid I am. At times like this, I'm thankful this hospital is so small. My own village has a very scant population and doesn't have a hospital. The closest hospital is a 30-minute drive away in a neighboring, to use the term loosely, town. However, this town is also rather small. It does have a library, a cinema, and a hospital, but they don't exist in multiples. The population here is too small. Because so few people use this hospital, it's usually rather empty. This means my doctor can give me a lot more special attention, and I'd like some if you know what I mean, than I would get at a larger, more urban hospital. This means even though he should technically be seen as other patients, he can still find windows of time to play around with me. Ooh, trying to cheer me up, I suppose. Even though I get angry at him a lot, make cruel comments, I actually am grateful for his company. Just having somebody to talk to helps take the edge off of the monotony of my days, which is, oddly enough, one of the worst things about being in hospital. It isn't the fear of dying, I've already grown to accept that somewhat. It's the hours and hours, days and days, weeks and weeks of boredom that lead up to this inevitable fact. I'm a young girl, I don't want to spend the last days of my life lying in bed, getting weaker and weaker, waiting to die. I want to have some fun too, I want to play around. Even if it's not much, simply having a few games of one-sided chess with an attractive doctor, for the moment, it feels like enough.
Can we play again?
Wait.
Can we play again? I'll definitely beat you this time. Well, maybe I should get going, but...
I stare at him resolutely, my hands clenched into fists at my front. So you're threatening to beat the doctor if he doesn't... with your fists if he doesn't play again?
No, just one more time. I won't forgive you if you leave it like this. This is the deciding game.
How is this the deciding game if I've already won the 3 previous matches, silly?
They were just warm-ups, you know? You didn't even see a real tenth of my power. This time I'm gonna be serious.
Okay, just one more time, but don't cry if I beat you, alright?
Ha! Like I would. Bring it on, bitch!
I notice as he sets up the pieces with a slightly bemused smile on his face that his fingers are incredibly slender. Idly, I wonder what it would feel like to be touched by those fingers in my lady parts. I've never been intimate with a boy before, and though my doctor certainly isn't a boy, but a man, it might not be so different.
Well, what are you looking at?
Oh, bam! He got called on it. I jumped in alarm, my face turning red as he notices my staring at my lap, trying to divert my attention away from his curious gaze. I drive out all my silly thoughts from my mind. Doctor, she was thinking of you fingering her.
I was just wondering, if you play any musical instruments? Can I see your instrument?
I just said the first excuse that came into my head. That's actually a pretty good excuse. Doesn't that sound kind of awkward, just asking such a odd question out of nowhere?
I mean, it's just because you have long fingers like my friend. She played the piano, and she said it was because she had the right fingers, so
I giggle nervously, feeling like a schoolgirl with a crush. It's funny interacting with my doctor. Makes me feel like makes me feel more like my own age than talk to my classmates when they used to still come to visit me. When my classmates saw me, they were oddly quiet. The atmosphere strained. They said they were sorry, even though my illness wasn't their fault. They acted so stilted, so unnatural, as though they were worried they would upset me. My doctor, however, isn't like that. I guess it's because he's never known me pre-hospitalization, so he can't compare the me from back then to the me now. So it's impossible for him to treat me differently. He always talks to me in a familiar way and tries to tell me jokes. It makes it easier for me to get along with him, to forget how I ended up in this situation. All I want to do is forget.
Well, I did play the violin for a while, but I wasn't very good at it. I did it mainly because my parents wanted me to.
Intrigued by his childhood, a topic that hasn't come up in conversation before, I sit just a little straighter. Did they beat you? In your face?
Were you any good at it? No, my teacher was very strict. She shouted at me a lot. It was pretty scary. I remember she made me cry. I was a scaredy cat as a kid. Why do you yell at a kid when he's trying to play the violin? That seems like really shitty. Like, who's gonna want to keep that up? Why are you gonna want to keep playing an instrument when you always associate it with fear and screaming? I remember she lived in a rather large, grandiose house. I always felt so small and anxious inside her living room. It made my fingers tremble, so I couldn't play well.
I smile a little, bemused by this mental image. I can just imagine him, my doctor, as a small child with a slightly dorky haircut, nervously trying to hold his violin correctly, getting his fingering wrong. Ooh, fingering. Becoming scared and confused. The mental image is just a little bit cute.
What kind of songs did she try to make you play?
He laughs, looking embarrassed. I can't imagine, judging by that reaction, he learned a particularly vast repertoire.
I think we gave up halfway through Pachelbel's Canon. I'm surprised. That's better than Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, at least. Don't be impressed. I think my teacher had too high hopes for me. I was truly awful. I wouldn't be surprised if I couldn't play that, either.
In fact, it was probably impressive how little talent I had. I giggle.
Why did your parents keep making you take lessons then?
I don't know. Maybe because I was kind of frail and sickly as a kid, they wanted me to be accomplished in something so they could be proud. Not that they weren't nice people, because they are. They just kind of had a lot of hopes for me.
They must be happy since you became a doctor then.
Yeah, you think they'd be pretty relieved. I'm not a smart person, though.
That's what you want to hear your doctor say. I'm pretty stupid.
As you might have been able to tell, so just getting here was an uphill struggle.
You can still beat me at chess, though.
That's only because my wife likes it. She's far better than me, though. Oh,
Crushing moment for her to find out he's got a wife. Smiling, looking just a little embarrassed at sharing such a personal story, he draws his hand away from the chessboard, all the pieces lined up perfectly.
Alright, you wanna go again?
Ka-choo! I'm the Wallace, of course! I'm gonna grind you into dirt!
I like her competitive streak.
March the 2nd.
Is that her mom?
Oh, darling, your hair is so pretty. You should take better care of it. I've been failing to see the point lately.
I'm gonna change your mom's voice.
That's understandable, but make your mother happy, love.
That's what I'm doing, even if it doesn't seem like an excuse. That's what I'm doing, even if it does seem like an exercise in futility.
It's not futile, dear. You have lovely hair.
That isn't what I meant.
I'm sitting in my bed, as always. My parents, mother and father, have come to visit me. I assume my little sister is staying with one of her friends. My parents don't want to subject her to the sight of me. Confined in my bed, slowly losing weight. They think it might upset her. That's bullshit, man. You shouldn't separate sisters. It's fucking bullshit. It's somewhat depressing, my mere existence being considered too upsetting for my own sister to witness. My mother brushes my hair gently, getting rid of the tangles that have been accumulating through severe lack of care.
What have the nurses been doing lately? Don't they brush your hair?
They do, but I don't like it very much. I tell them to stop.
And why is that?
Because I still have my pride.
Because I don't like them touching me.
They're only doing their job.
I know, but...
My voice trails off in a string of ellipses, round and poignant like snow. The weather is slowly getting warmer. It's not as cold outside anymore. All the snow is melted. That's something of a shame. It feels like saying goodbye to an old friend, saying hello to spring. It's ironic that even though the spring is meant to signal new life, in my case... Well, that's cliche. I won't go any further. But you understand what I mean.
If you can brush your hair yourself, then you should do it, dear.
I don't want to.
Then let the nurses help you.
I don't want to do that either.
Oh, dear, you're a contrary one.
That's right, but you can't be too hard on the last.
Oh, wait. That's right, but you can't be too hard on the last. She takes after...
Oh, wait, that's gonna be the dad. Yeah, that's right, but you can't be too hard on the last. She takes after you.
Really now, dear? I don't think I was ever that stubborn.
Oh, you say that now. Do you remember us on your first date? I remember we were at the pizza place and I was like, can you comb your hair? And you were like, no, I'm a giant pain in the ass.
Let's not go into that right now, honey. It's not appropriate.
What could you have done on your first date that was that inappropriate? Are you saying that her mom is easy? Through those banal conversations, usually about my appearance or my diet, sometimes... Even though these banal conversations, usually about my appearance or diet, sometimes try my patience, the dynamic between my parents always makes me smile. My dad has a loud, booming voice and loves to talk lovingly about memories of my mother. This always makes her blush. I guess it's kind of cute or something.
What was your first date like anyway?
I find myself asking this question, surprising even myself. I've never shown an interest in my parents' relationship before. I suppose, given the state I am in, I've decided I want to know as much about them as possible before it's too late. Or maybe I just... My thoughts flicker back to my doctor, his soft features and teasing face? Slender fingers as he moves chess pieces across the board. Could it be that I'm thinking about dates simply because? Well, it's just an idle fantasy, still a thing will never come true, but... I can still dream, can't I?
My mother flushes a little at this unexpected question, but my dad seems genuinely overjoyed, since I always told him to shut the fuck up when he launched into sappy stories about his romantic conquest of my mother. If I ever get a woman and had kids, that's what I want to do. I remember the time I conquered your mom, and now we made you. He must be delighted now that I've actually given him the chance to talk. My dad really, really loves to talk. That's probably one of his most defining characteristics. Well, I'm glad you asked, sweetheart. We decided to go ice skating. Would you believe? A real classic kind of date. You know, like the type you see in the movie? And your mother, gosh, she was really beautiful. She still is. I remember looking at her and thinking, this is the woman I want to spend the rest of my life in. And kind of, do you know what with. She was good looking. I listened to my father story, saying oh and ah at the appropriate moments. A small smile on my face. My mother, meanwhile, works on braiding my hair, tying it back into my two favorite ribbons. She's silent the whole time, a faint blush on her face. This family scene, I suppose it could be considered heartwarming if my circumstances weren't taken into account. I don't know. Look, I really like the story, but I don't know who's talking half the time. That's the only drawback. Do you notice anything? Is that the mother? Do you notice anything different about me? Self-consciously, I sit upright in bed, folding my hands in my hand, head tilted slightly so the dying sunlight streaming through the window catches my hair. My parents have already gone home at this point, leaving me only the knowledge of my parents' disastrous first date and a cute hairstyle. Even though I spoke coldly to my mother as she braided my hair, I'm still glad with the final result. It looks far better than anything I could do. For the first time in a long while, I actually feel kind of cute. It's hard to feel attractive when you've been consigned to bed, wearing only pajamas curled up in a duvet. Still, I think I look marginally more attractive than usual. Of course, I want him to see. I'm going to... Ooh, we're jailbait. There's no other man to show off my new appearance to, after all. I wonder if he'll notice. I hope he'll be surprised. Maybe he'll even compliment me. These girlish thoughts fill my head, making me blush. I address him when he enters the room.
Why hello to you too, kid.
He seems surprised by my sudden greeting, spoken as soon as he opens the door. I may or may not have been waiting for him. He speaks in a bemused way. I pay him no heed! No heeds at all! If he went to the heed store, he would get no heeds from me! However, and ask him the question again.
Do you notice anything different?
The question every man fears to hear. That and do I look fat in this? He looks up at me and down searchingly as though playing a game of matching pairs, trying to find two corresponding tiles. Maybe he's anxious. If he doesn't detect the change, I'll be angry with him. It's the dance men and women have done throughout history. I wonder if his wife is that kind of person who gets upset if he doesn't compliment her every time she trims half an inch off her bangs.
I see you're wearing your pretty ribbons again in your hair.
He seems pleased with himself that he's noticed and gives me a warm smile. A smile that makes my face turn light pink. That is the moment where a man on the spot is like, oh my god, I figured it out. I'm not going to get yelled at. Even so, I try to remain cool.
Yes, what about my hair? Well, I don't know much about it. It seems to grow out of your head. But even so, I think you look rather pretty today, kid.
The compliment is ruined somewhat by his customary use of the endearment, kid. But I let it slide for now. Oh my god, I call one of my lady friends kid all the time. Maybe that's a bad move. Blushing, feeling like a maiden from a fairy tale, I curl up under my duvet, wrapping it under my chin. If that lady friend is watching now, please don't yell at me.
Thank you.
My voice is so soft, I don't know if he even hears it. March the 7th. Which one is the Ides of March?
Hey there, kid. What are you reading? Comic. What's it about? Why do you care? I'm allowed to show an interest, aren't I? No, I think you should be doing your job, don't you? Uh-huh. You want to get rid of me so quickly? It doesn't make any difference, but I can't concentrate if you keep talking to me. How cruel. I was just trying to make conversation. You're not really interested? If I said I'm interested, I am. I don't tell lies, you know. Cross your heart. And hope to die, etc., etc.
I assume this is a dream sequence? Either that or jailbait stuff's about to happen.
You won't laugh at me.
Oh, wait, interest in the comic. I got that way off.
I'm not a playground bully, kid. I might kick some sand in your face for the hell of it, but whatever, give me some credit. I wouldn't make a very good doctor if I was so callous, would I?
I don't know if you're a particularly good doctor.
Burn! Oh, how harsh. Maybe there's a grain of truth to it. I'll try harder. Now about that comic?
Oh, alright. Yeah, it's,
I flush, my face turning unexpectedly pink as I hold my comic to my chest. It's been such a long time since I've experienced an emotion like this. Mostly I was just feeling angry, sad, or apathetic. I cycle through them on a regular basis. However, this time, somehow showing him what I was reading? He calls me kid all the time already. If he knew I had an interest in such an embarrassing stuff on top of that, well, I always tell him, coldly, I'm not a child at all. But then to read such wish fulfillment type stories,
Hey, what's wrong? Now I'm getting really curious.
Don't tease me. Alright, I'll show you. Just not a big deal anyway.
My face still light pink, I open up my girly comic my parents bought me and thrust into his face. Look at it with your eye holes! I've already read this comic 15 times in the last week. My parents visit me every day after work and try and cheer me up as best they can. Bring in more comics, books, CDs, anything they think of to keep me occupied, to ensure my last moments are happy. However, I can get through these distractions very quickly. Ever since I was admitted here, I've become a fast reader. I never used to like books before. I was always outside playing, a real country girl. Now my tan skin is white like snow. I can barely distinguish my own hands from my duvet. I feel like I'm melting into my pajamas, becoming a creature made of snow. A snow woman. Where do I end, and where do the hospital room begin around me? Like a scorpion entombed in amber, I'm stuck. I can't escape. Maybe the hospital room would not exist without me inside of it. I've been here so long I've beginning to feel like an integral part of this room. Clockwork in a machine. To pass the time, I started to read. I must have read more books this past year than I did the rest of my life combined. Because I can get through the entertainment my parents provide me quickly, I stand up with... Oh, derp. Because I can get through the entertainment my parents provide me quickly, I still end up with large gaps in my lonely life with nothing to do. I can't handle that, sitting around with absolutely no means of distracting myself. I'd go crazy. My thoughts become circular. Why did this happen to me? What did I do wrong? Am I being punished? At least when I'm reading something, I don't have those thoughts. I can escape from my own life, imprisoned inside this tiny white coffin, and exist in somebody else's reality, at least for a few hours. So I started to reread my comics, just to kill time. This particular comic that my doctor caught me reading is my favorite. The reason behind that little shameful smile, though... why did he have to walk in on me reading it?
Hey, this is pretty cute. It's a love story, right?
Yeah, of course. That much is obvious, can't you tell?
I'm surprised. I didn't know you'd be interested in this kind of story. I feel like I've learned something new today.
I think he's teasing me. When he isn't poking fun at himself, he does it to me gently. I want him to be gently with me, and then rough, in an attempt to make me smile, I think. However, I'm too sensitive about this particular issue. Why does he think it's odd that I'm cute? That I like cute, sappy romances? It's not so strange, right? I'm a young girl, so being interested in is natural, isn't it? I don't want to be made fun of for something like that.
Why are you so surprised exactly?
Well, you seem so, singular. I thought you wouldn't be interested in boys, you know?
Idiot, of course I am. I'm just a little bit.
I can see that for myself, and hey.
Oh no, it seems like he's realized. The reason why I like this particular story so much is... Pointing to a page in the comic, he holds it up for me to see.
Doesn't this guy look a little bit like me?
My face feels so warm I could fry an egg on it. If only I had an egg to crack on it to distract from everything else. I can't tell him, though. I can't let him know the reason I like this story is because the male love interest looks like him. It's not that I like him, it's just... I've never had a chance to have a relationship with someone my own age at school. I never thought about it. I was too busy having fun. It all seemed like too much hassle. Even though I've read some romantic comics aimed at girls and fantasized about having that kind of a relationship, it all seemed too far away for me. I realized I was only young. I reasoned I was only young. I had all the time in the world. I didn't want to grow up just yet. Besides, I had my childhood best friend. We cycled to school every morning together. We teased each other all the time. We helped each other with homework. We were always together. Although we never said anything in regards to romance, I had always assumed, just like one of my girlish comics, we would slowly, inevitably end up developing feelings for each other. Maybe I already had some of those feelings budding in my heart, but I hadn't recognized it yet. We would both fall for each other. We would both fall. Oh, we fell down! And then we would confess. And then we'd start dating. We'd stay together all the time, becoming closer and closer, and then we'd become sunflower field. We'd become sunflower farmers, just like sunflowers that grew so beautifully in the fields near my home. A vibrant yellow pointed up towards the blue, blue sky. I'm sure our feelings would blossom. They may have been small at first, built on a basis of mutual, long-lasting friendship, but fed with constant affection, they would grow bigger and bigger until these passionate, love-struck emotions filled my entire heart. I wanted my heart to overflow with love, spilling over until I couldn't contain it anymore. I wanted to go on dates with somebody my own age. I wanted to spend ages in stores picking out cute clothes to wear so I could impress them. I wanted to spend time at school giggling with my girlfriends about my feelings, dissecting them together, smiles on our faces. This is why guys don't understand girls. Girls are like, oh, guys, this thing, do you think he noticed what I did? And guys are like, football, sex, football, pizza, pizza football, pizza sex. I wanted that kind of easygoing, naturally formed, utterly idyllic relationship. But that didn't work out at all. I was torn away from my old life and placed here, with no say in the matter at all. My childhood dreams of romance have already crumbled before my eyes. I don't have enough time to develop a steady, gradually developing 3-arc long romantic story like I always dreamed. And there are no boys around me for and there are no boys around for me to fall in love with anyway. There's only him. I feel bad for the doctor now. You're all like, I kind of like you, but it's because you're the only choice. Even though he jokes about being old, he's the only man closest to my age here, the only one who visits me regularly. Although his jokes get on my nerves and his cheery nature is exhausting, although he's my doctor and I am a patient, a person he always calls kid and surely views as no more than a little girl, even though he has a family, even though I have no right to intrude on that happy, peaceful scene, it's not fair. Why can't I be allowed to have a crush on somebody? I don't have anything else left. It's all I've got. I don't want to feel guilty. I don't want to feel as though the burden on I don't want to feel as though the burden on any unhappiness his family has is my doing. Even though I protested, I'm still a child after all, and it's a silly crush. It's really not that bad, right? I don't want to make his family unhappy, but it seems inevitable I would end up liking him just a little bit because there's nobody else here. My own dreams were uprooted, my romance story ended before I had a chance to begin, so now the only one I have left is... I have a question just for a moment. Does that mean she assumes that she automatically is going to get the doctor? That she can make the family unhappy? I mean, that seems a little weird to jump to that conclusion. But thinking about it all makes me feel pathetic. I hate myself for getting such a silly, insubstantial crush on a person so much older than me, simply because there's nobody else here. That really is the only reason. I wish I could go talk to the character and be like, you know what, it's okay to have a crush on him. It's not your fault what you feel. If you make a bad choice because of it, it's your fault. But it's not your fault if you like a person. It feels sad sacrificing such a long-lasting relationship with my best friend simply to feel faint flutters of something from my own doctor. But even though I know I'm going to die soon, or maybe precisely because of that, I want to know what it feels like. I pushed my vague sense of guilt easily aside, like opening a sliding door. So despite feeling a little shamed about this affection, I nursed it until it grew bigger and bigger. I facilitated the spread of my own silly little crush because I wanted to know. I was curious. It all feels false and mechanical when I think about it like that. But I can't let him know about it. It would make everything too unbearably awkward. Most likely he'd distance himself from me. He'd stop being so cozy and familiar. He would no longer want to act as my friend, and still there would be strict roles, doctor and patient, because that is considered proper. The fragile feelings of a young girl who wants to fall in love, these would be completely discounted. Then what dreams would I have left? This silly fantasy of a short-lived relationship with an attractive guy is the only thing I have left to cling on to. So I roll my eyes and click my tongue against the roof of my mouth, trying to act disinterested.
It's just a coincidence. be honest, it kind of annoys me that guy looks so much like you. I hate it. Oh, Dreamy.
He laughs, looking bemused at my sharp tones. Ah, how cruel. You sure do have a sharp tongue.
Why? Do you wish I liked you in that way? Pervert.
I'm still talking coldly, but deep down, I'm somewhat interested. What if? No, of course not. That would be pretty awkward, wouldn't it? Besides, a young girl like you couldn't be interested in a old guy like me. He brushes it aside hastily. He tries to appear unaffected, but I guess my question embarrassed him just a little bit. His cheeks look a little too pink. I think you hit close to home, lady.
All right, let's get your blood.
Let's get your blood pressure out of the way with, and then I gotta be going. Suddenly, he starts talking in a more formal manner. He hands me back my comic, not giving it another glance. I suppose maybe I did go a little too far. Of course, he's a professional. A doctor can't talk to their patient like that. It's not right. Okay, here.
Oh, okay, here.
That was supposed to be her. I offer him my arm, rolling up the sleeve of my pajama shirt. I feel just a little bit listless, like a dying flower in a vase filled with dusty water. March 8th. I don't know whose voice that is.
What are you looking at?
What are you looking at?
The cherry blossoms. They're pretty.
I answered with curt, matter-of-fact words, back to my withdrawn self. Since I went too far yesterday in my teasing, I'm worried he'll act awkwardly with me. That's why I make a big show of ignoring him this morning, turning my head away when he enters the room and staring purposely out the window. If any women are watching this, just tell a guy how you feel. Or if a guy you're watching it, just tell someone how you feel. Honesty is the best policy. I think my forced lack of interest has comforted him just a little bit. He lapsed back into his old playful self, formal attitude melting away. Too often people don't say what they feel in their heart or feel in general because they're afraid or they assume what the other person is thinking rather than just putting it out there and trusting the other person to, hit it back or something. He probably thinks I don't care about him at all now. As long as I'm rude, like usual, he can act in a relaxed manner with me, not worrying about my feelings for him. For him to be openly nice and kind to me, I have to act like I hate him. Otherwise, he'll get anxious and back away. I understand that now, so I have to pretend I don't care. Well, it's not particularly hard, since I'm often alone in this room, trapped inside my head. I have nobody to direct my unpleasant and ugly thoughts towards. If he's here, I can at least vent my frustrations out on him. Yeah, the cherry blossoms sure are something, he says, his voice sounding faintly nostalgic for some reason. I counter in a monotone.
Nobody says that, stupid.
Nobody says what?
Sure are something. Such an old-fashioned phrase. It's so gross.
Well, I apologize for being gross. Must be annoying for such a young girl, having an old guy invading her personal space all the time. His voice is light, but I wonder, is he still curious about my words yesterday? Maybe he discussed it with his wife last night. Yeah, hey wife, would you mind if I fucked the 14-year-old girl who's dying in the hospital? She seems a lot hotter than you. I like the ribbons in her hair. That was ad-libbed, just in case you don't know how to read English. Wondered what he should do about a cute little patient of his who seems to have a crush on him. One part of me hopes that never happens, that my silly and substantial feelings don't cause any real problems. I don't genuinely want to cause any upset, but at the same time, another part me, more selfish, mean-spirited part, hopes he did talk about with his wife. Talk about it with his wife. I hope she got concerned and they had some kind of argument. If I'm being discussed outside the hospital, it means I still have some presence in the world, no matter how small. I don't want to remain confined in here in both body and thought. Then it'd be too easy for me to simply die. If nobody cares, I might as well. I want him to care.
Yeah, what? Yeah, it's annoying. I don't like being intruded on all the time, but it's not like I have any say in the matter. I guess privacy isn't a blessing given to the dying.
Wow, she's cold. She should just be straight about how she feels. He doesn't say anything for a while. Instead, he watches the cherry blossoms fall outside my bedroom window with me. I'm laid in bed, and he's standing beside me, looking slightly lost. It's spring, I guess, he says after a while. Aren't you glad to be rid of all the snow? I shrug.
doesn't make any difference to me. Since that was the last winter I'll ever witness, I felt kind of sad.
Still, the cherry blossoms are pretty, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
Listen, I've been thinking, maybe we, shouldn't...
You've been thinking? I didn't know you could.
It may not look like it, but occasionally even I exercise my brain.
You probably do Sudoku like an old man.
Actually, I prefer crossword puzzles. I'm not very good at them, though. It's difficult to concentrate at home with my little girl always wanting attention. Oh. He laughs a little as he says this, rubbing the back of his neck.
If you want to do some puzzles in peace and quiet, you could do them up here with me.
His laughter abruptly stops. He seems concerned. Maybe I went too far again.
I don't know, that seems a little...
I have nothing else to do with my time, so why not? Besides, I read a lot of books. I could help you out, probably.
It's nice of you to offer, but I do have a job to do. As much as I'd like to, I can't spend all my time with you, kid.
For some reason, spending too much time with me never seemed to be a problem before. Now, however, it's different. As soon as I showed a sign of maybe possibly being attracted to him just a little, he started to back away, to get unsettled. I suppose that's what they call being professional? I don't know how much trouble he'd get into if he became closer with me, but I imagine quite a bit, so his cautious nature is easy to understand. Even so, I'm selfish, and I don't like it. I don't feel like arguing now, though. It seems like a waste of time. All of a sudden, I feel very tired.
Maybe?
I don't know whose that was. I sigh.
And I'm not a kid.
So you say.
I'm saying it because it's true. If you have a terminal disease and you get shut up in a lousy place like this, it gives you a lot of time to think. I grew up a lot.
Oh, kid.
I don't feel like one. If I feel like anything, I feel like an old man. Get all sentimental about cherry blossoms is so pathetic. I feel like the old man. Get all cheery.
Whatever. I shudder, suddenly afflicted with the onslaught of tears. I'm able to keep them at bay, but I'm sure if I open my mouth to speak, I'll start crying. I'm sick of this. I'm so fucking sick of this.
I just don't want to be alone anymore.
He looks conflicted, unsure of what to do. Should he comfort me or not? It would be unprofessional to be too kind, but it would be cruel to turn me away. I think as I cry, I'm being just a little manipulative. Oh, she's crying to make sure he stays. I love this lady. She's like, I'm going to get the doctor to stay at the very least. But I don't care. I'm past the point of caring. Wait.
I don't even want to do stupid crossword puzzles. I just want to spend more time with you. My school friends all already stopped visiting me. I only been here 2 months and they already forgot me. To them, I probably don't even exist anymore. They're having fun at school while I'm done.
I sniffle, wiping my eyes with my sleeve.
Just for a little while.
Just for a little while. Can't you stay with me a little bit longer? When I'm all alone with nobody else, I start to feel like maybe I've really died. Nobody cares, and what's the point? I just want to feel needed.
Kid, look, I care about you, okay?
That's because you were paid to care, but in reality, I'm just another patient to you, aren't I? You don't want to spend all that time with me at all?
That isn't true. Just I have a job to do, and you aren't my only patient. And don't cry, please.
I can't help it. You'd cry too if you were in my situation.
Probably. I'd probably cry more. You're way tougher than I was at your age.
I can't reply. My body crumples in on itself, and I cry openly, rubbing my eyes red raw with my sleeves, my lashes clumping together from my tears. My life? What is it for? What's the point in being alive if I'm going to die? If nobody cares, I'm going to be alone forever. I don't want to live.
I don't want to live. I hate it. I just hate it.
Kid, and I don't want you to die.
But you're so distant. You pretend you're my friend, but really?
That's because He looks truly tortured. I start to feel a little sorry for crying, for making him feel so conflicted, but at the same time, I don't care at all. I'm making him feel bad? Good! That just means that my life still has a tiny bit of influence, that it still can make somebody feel something! I hadn't faded away altogether, not just yet. That can only be a good thing, can't it? Kid, come here. Don't cry, please. Finally, my tears have broken down his barriers. This pretense of professionalism vanishes. Tentatively, he sits down on the edge of my bed and gives me a gentle hug.
My face turns light pink, but not just from the tears. This really is like something from one of my comics, one of my favorite fantasies. Women be trouble, that's all I know. Who is that?
Warm, you're warm.
And you feel kind of chilly. Maybe you should have a rest.
Nuh-uh.
I shake my head, wrapping my weak arms around him as tight as I can. Resting my head on his chest, I cuddle against him closely. His white coat smells oddly of turpentine, but I don't care. It's still comforting. I can even hear the sound of his heart beating, thudding softly inside his rib cage. Being held like this, it's proof I'm still alive. I wish time would stop completely. I only want to exist in the moment. I don't know if you can hear the heartbeat sound effect. At first I was like, is something bumping the mic? I'm afraid of how he'll act when he stops hugging me. The guilt will drive our relationship further apart, won't it? For this one moment of closeness, I'll have to trade the friendship we were slowly developing together. He won't want to spend protracted amounts of time with me anymore. After this embrace, I'll end up even lonelier, won't I? That's why for now, at least, I can't let go. March 11th. I assume they didn't hold each other for that whole time.
Honey, are you all right? Are you sure you don't want to eat?
I shake my head no. Lately I've been feeling so worn down I hardly have enough energy to blink, let alone eat. It all seems like too much effort. I'm worried that my arms and legs are getting thinner and thinner. Once I used to be able to ride my bicycle all the way to school, even though it was 3 miles away. It seemed easy. The wind blowing in my hair, ruffling my school skirts, the warm sunlight beating down at me, the chirping of the birds, the sound of my bike moving underneath me, crossing over small stones and pitfalls. I could do it easily, without any problems, but now I can't even stand on my own 2 feet without somebody holding my hand. Sometimes the nurses walk around my tiny room. They take my hand and guide me along, a true invalid. After one circuit of my room, I'm out of breath, my fringe sticking to my forehead with perspiration. I need to lie down again. The nurses always say, well done, or good girl, after your daily exercise, but it all feels hollow and empty. I want to tell them that I used to be able to do so much more. I used to be so much more. I don't want to be praised for doing something as pitiful as merely walking around my room. Anybody can do that. Are you trying to insult me? But the sad reality is simply walking around my room is my limit now. I can't do anything else. Even walking around my room is a strain. But something that praised when it used to be something I did easily is something that's praised even when it used It's something that praised when it used to be something I did easily even without thinking about it. My physical deterioration is a true sign of how my life is being sapped away.
Honey, are you sure you don't want to eat anything? You're looking quite skinny.
I shrug. Even replying is too difficult for me. I know the woman sat beside my bed. I know the woman sat by my bedside is my mother. I know she's concerned about me. I know I should try to eat just a little bit for her peace of mind. It can't be easy for her oldest daughter being on the verge of death, so I should play along a little bit. Try to smile. But I don't want to. I'm sick of pretending I'm alright. I'm ready to die happily and quietly for the sake of others. I'm sick of it. I don't want to pretend. I'm too childish for that.
Well, if you're sure, maybe you'll feel hungry later. Oh, and your doctor tells me you've been doing crossword puzzles lately. He's been giving it to you. Isn't that nice? Yes, he really is a kind man. I'm so glad he's looking after you. You'll be safe in his hands, I'm sure.
My mother's faux cheery voice is beginning to get on my nerves. I screw my eyes shut and curl up on myself, shrinking just like a mushroom in a frying pan. It's true my doctor's been giving me crossword puzzles lately to help alleviate my boredom, but that's as far as his kind gestures go. Is it not enough for her? He hasn't been playing around with me like usual. He stopped telling jokes altogether. I think he's uncomfortable ever since that highly improper hug. That must have broken a rule too, so he doesn't want to get close to me anymore. He must be worried about his job. He hasn't been a doctor for very long, and already he's messing up. Surely he sees me as dangerous. But he hasn't asked that another doctor take care of me in his place, despite the obvious fact that I'm attached to him, and he still gives me those crossword puzzles. I guess that means he really does care about me. Now he feels unable to show it. I'm glad he still cares for me, but even so, The crossword puzzles aren't enough. They're not a real substitute for human contact. I want him to joke around with me again, like he used to. I miss him. Maybe given the highly isolated state of my current existence, I need him. Even though I never forgot my own miserable fate while spending time with him and was sometimes grumpy and ill-tempered, he did make me feel better. All I want is to feel better. Is that really such a selfish thing? Am I really so selfish that in my last few weeks of life, I don't deserve any comfort or sympathy? It looks like you're tired. In that case, should I go? My mother sounds fretful, but I don't respond. Instead, I curl up on myself even tighter. At this point, she's probably wishing I'd just die. Then she wouldn't have to deal with this ungrateful daughter anymore, who doesn't respond when spoken to, and doesn't say thank you for all the attention she's been given. I must be the worst daughter in the world. Maybe I really am a brat. My mother closes the door to my room behind me gently, so as not to wake me, even though I'm not asleep. I listen to the sounds of her footsteps down the corridor as they disappear into darkness. I keep listening, curled up in my bed, bundled up under my blankets. I wait and I wait and I wait. And then finally, when I'm convinced nobody is around to hear, I start to cry. March 12th. Is that the doctor or the mom? You know, I really think you should eat something. I look at the unappetizing tray of food the nurses brought me earlier. I haven't eaten in 3 days, but looking at the food doesn't make me feel hungry at all. Instead, it turns my stomach. It looks so bland in dull, earthy colors, all of it mushy and easy to digest, tender enough to chew without any real effort. Almost like baby food. That would be because right now I'm more like a baby than a normal human being, except I don't have anything nearly as blissful as the prospect of a whole life stretching out before me. I feel tired. All I want to do is sleep. I've even stopped reading my comics now. I don't attempt the word searches at all. I just lie there thinking. My body slowly disintegrating through lack of exercise, lack of food, and lack of affection. People say rabbits die when they're lonely. I think that may be true of people too.
There's no point in eating.
Don't be silly. Of course there is. It'll make you feel better.
Why do you care how I feel?
Because I'm your doctor and
And it's your job, otherwise you wouldn't give a damn.
That isn't true. I wish you wouldn't keep saying that.
My doctor looks awkward. He's standing as far away from me as my small room will allow, alternating between looking at me and back out the window. I guess that embrace a week ago really did get under his skin. I feel a little happy. I could make a grown man act in such a childish manner, but at the same time, seeing the sight isn't worth the immense loneliness I've been feeling because of it. I didn't realize it before, but I guess I really did rely on him. Even though I told him his stupid jokes and annoying smiles were making me angry, it wasn't entirely true. Simply having somebody else there to bounce conversation off back and forth was more helpful than I realized. Now, because I was too forward, I created this gulf between us. I don't want that anymore. My voice is so empty, without energy or any real conviction when I reply.
If it's true, if you really did care about me, you wouldn't be acting so distant lately.
I've just been busy seeing other patients.
That's a lie. You would have had to see your other patients before, but you still made time for me. Now you won't even go near me. Unless you have to. It's pretty hurtful, you know.
He looks pained. I take only a minimal amount of happiness from that.
Honestly, kid, look, it's difficult. You probably won't understand, but...
His voice trails off. He's lost for words. Distractedly, he runs his hand through his hair. He's trying to calm down.
Did you know you do that?
Do what?
Run your hands through your hair like that when you feel anxious? Did you notice?
Immediately, his hands fall to his sides.
I had no idea. I guess you're rather a regular Sherlock Holmes or something.
You start to pick up on small things when you have so much free time. There isn't anything else to do, you know?
Sherlock Holmes had that kind of personality too. He got bored easily.
I didn't know that. I've never read the books.
You should. They're kind of silly, but pretty fun. Maybe I'll lend them to you.
Be careful. If you get too close to me again, you might get in trouble.
Kid.
His voice sounds strained again, and he starts to run his hands through his hair. I guess that incident from earlier was really on his mind. It's kind of nice to know. At least my presence hasn't diminished so much that I've become utterly forgettable. Even so, we were starting to have a nice normal conversation, just like before. I feel like an idiot, ruining it with a cold remark, but I couldn't help myself.
I'm angry at you, you know? Why did you leave me alone for so long?
I told you I was busy.
And I told you I don't believe it!
I counter him sharply, my voice rising.
You were just worried, weren't you? You were more concerned about yourself and your job than me! For all this pretense about being friends, we're just a doctor and patient after all, aren't we?
I do want to be your friend, but there's some lines that can't be crossed. I'm new to this job. I make some mistakes, but...
If you didn't want to take that responsibility for being close to me, you shouldn't have done it in the first place!
I was just worried about you. There was nothing more to it, and I'm still worried about you.
Liar!
I'm not!
Yes, you are! Just like all the kids in my class, all my friends! They said they wouldn't forget me. They came to visit me a few times, they gave me that card, and then it all got too embarrassing, too much effort. And they were having so much fun without me. It was like I never was there. They said they wouldn't forget about me, but they did. Since they're not sick, it's easy to forget. But I'm trapped here. They can't see me. They don't have to think about me. Promises only go so far. Well, it's not like I blame them. People's compassion only goes so far, I guess. I'd probably do the same, so I got no right to be angry, but...
Kid.
No, don't tell me you... Don't tell me you care, and then turn around and ignore me because it's the convenient thing to do. I don't want that. I don't want to be alone.
Look, I wish I could do more, but...
When I die, you'll forgive me.
He winces as though struck on the cheek. Not that I have enough energy to get up and do something like that.
I wouldn't. That'd be impossible.
Is it just me, or...
I wanted to be... But that'd be impossible.
Is it just me, or does his voice sound genuinely sad? I guess we've known each other for almost 2 months now. Every day he's tried to cheer me up. He always wanted to make me smile. Maybe he really was more invested in me than I thought.
But that isn't enough.
But that isn't enough.
Oh, Arthur, why didn't you put the names on it? Because this is a good story. Kid.
I don't want to be thought about fondly after I'm dead. That won't mean anything to me. Because I won't be there to see it. I want to be treated nicely while I'm still alive.
By nicely, you mean?
I'm not going to eat anything unless you feed me.
Wow. I say it clearly with resolution. I've already decided and nothing will budge me. I read it in one of my cute romance comics. A boy and girl go on a date, and the boy feeds the girl ice cream sundae in a spoon. Seems so cute. The scene framed in hearts and sparkles. It is romantic when you go on a date and you feed the other person. As long as they're cool with it. Probably not a first date thing. You don't want to just take some food and shove it in their face. No, you're going to eat it. I don't want to. You're going to. It might sound silly, but I've always wanted that experience. Something like that, too. Even if it wouldn't be in a fancy cafe, and it wouldn't be with an ice cream sundae, I still want to experience something like that. But he looks troubled. I'm worried he'll leave. I don't want him to go.
Even if you tell the nurses to feed me, I won't do it. Instead, I'll bite them.
Bite them? Isn't that a little extreme?
Maybe, but it won't be my fault. It'll be yours.
I like how manipulative she is.
That doesn't seem fair.
It's not fair. I'm dying. It's not fair. I'll never finish school. It's not fair. I'll never get a job. It's not fair. I'll never fall in love.
That's true. Life isn't fair, I suppose. But still, it's not really my job to feed you.
Don't look at it as a job, then.
Oh, damn.
Regardless of what you say, though, this is my job.
No, I don't want it to be a job. That's what my parents think of me as, forcing themselves to visit me every day when they really don't want to. That's what my classmates thought when they made me that card. And then they thought that made everything okay. I'm not a job, I'm a human being. I have feelings too, you know.
I know, but I can't really indulge them any further. I've been careless. Look, kid, I really can't continue being so familiar with you.
You won't have to. I'm going to die soon. Nobody will ever find out.
Kid.
Hey, I'm not asking you to have sex with me or anything. Jeez, I only want you to feed me, okay? I won't do it by myself.
At my impudent words, his face starts to go red just a little bit. I wonder if he's thinking what it would be like if he had sex with me. Probably he feels guilty. I wonder what his wife would think if she knew. He's probably thinking, wow, she's a lot tighter than my wife. I wonder what he actually thinks about all of this. He never really said. Maybe he wouldn't worry so much about our closeness if he really had no feelings for me.
Oh, if I don't eat, I'll die.
You're dying anyway.
I know, but if I'll die quicker because of you.
Wow, she's really using manipulation.
I thought you were meant to be a doctor. Isn't saving people what you do?
You said I shouldn't treat you as a job, though.
Then do what you want to do. What do you want to do?
Honestly, I just want you to be happy. I can't stand seeing you so sad.
Then come here. Feed me, please. I don't want to die either, you know.
Now, kid, what am I going to do?
Act like you care about me.
I don't need to act. I already do care about you.
And with that, a resigned expression on his... sorry, my foot fell asleep at a terribly inappropriate time. Oh, it hurts. And that, with a resigned expression on his face, he walks over to me, sits down on my bed. Foot. And takes my tray of food into his lap. Play through the pain, Super Paul. Play through the pain. March 16th. Fucking hate.
There, you're gonna be alright.
Oh, maybe it's the doctor.
Calm down, it'll be fine, I'm here with you. Take deep breaths, okay? You're doing fine, it's all fine, I'm not going to leave you.
Because it's your job?
No, because I care about you.
His hand gently pats me on the back through my thin pajama top, trying to soothe my pain away. My stomach hurts, my whole body is convulsing. I can taste bile in my throat, coating my teeth. Even though I have nothing left inside me to throw up, I keep retching away. The fact this exercise is completely useless doesn't stop my body. My body hasn't been very rational at all of late. It doesn't do what I want. Even when I tell it to eat, my stomach contracts and I feel ill. When I try to walk, it refuses to move. When I try to breathe normally, it doesn't. I feel like I'm trapped inside a defective shell. My brain feels fully functional, but it's encased inside this shell of useless flesh that doesn't respond to me. It's almost as if my body hates me, like it's trying to sabotage all rational thought, driving me into despair. I don't want to be sick, but I am, over and over again. The whole while he's there, gently rubbing my back, trying to distract me from the pain. If this is a date, it isn't very romantic. I've never seen anything like this in the girlish comics I like to read. This is so humiliating, so depressing. I feel like I'm gonna cry.
Are you alright? Has it stopped?
Mostly. I think so.
My body's still trembling, as weak as a butterfly in a storm. I sit up. I'm still weak, however, and I collapse against his body, using him for support. This isn't a gesture born from a desire for closeness, it's from necessity. That's probably why he doesn't look anxious at this physical contact. As long as he sees me as a reliant invalid who needs his help, he doesn't have to view me as a young girl with a crush on him. He can distance himself from me and tell himself this much contact is necessary, because I can't survive without it. I guess to a doctor, the caregiver role is far easier than the fake boyfriend role I was selfishly trying to impose upon him. Being a caregiver means that he's doing his job. He can look down on me as a petty, weak, pathetic little girl and be reassured that there's nothing more between us. Because I'm sick, we can't have an equal relationship. That's why even though he's treating me so delicately, as though I were a china doll, it doesn't feel comforting at all.
You can go now. I'm fine.
He looks perplexed by my suddenly cold attitude, completely different from how clingy I've been acting lately.
Huh? But I thought, since you seem quite ill, maybe you want me to stay with you just a little?
I thought you had a job to do, remember?
But I thought this is what you'd want.
It isn't what I want now. You don't understand a girl's feelings at all.
Quit being insecure, just tell him what you want.
Well, of course you wouldn't, since you don't view me as a girl. That's not convenient to me. I'm just a patient, right?
That's not true. I mean, you are my patient, yes? But I do care about you.
I stare at him intently, my eyes narrowing. He shrinks back a little unnerved.
How much do you care about me?
I won't let you...
I won't let you dodge the question. How much?
I'm curious. I want to know. Do you like me simply as a patient you need to take care of, or a girl or a woman that you want to help? There's a big difference between taking care of somebody and helping somebody, you know? He looks away from me, shamefaced, embarrassed. Maybe more than I should? I don't know, it's confusing.
Then if you truly care, you wouldn't hang around. Then if you truly care, you wouldn't hang around after I've been sick in front of you. I want some personal space.
Huh? I pout unhappily at his inability to understand, then curl up under my duvets, bringing them under my chin. Maybe my face has turned a little red. I don't know.
Well, I don't want to spell it out for you, but don't think I want to hang around and talk in such a carefree way after I was sick.
Ow. Realization seems to dawn. A small and barely noticeable smile crosses his face. Could it be that you're embarrassed?
I am a girl, you know. Don't be so thick-headed. Of course, maybe just a little bit. I don't want to show that side of myself to you.
Ha.
What? Why are you laughing at me?
He laughs, wiping tears out from the corner of his eyes. Really, this man, even though he's ridiculous and awkward and doesn't seem to understand how to treat a girl at all, even though his manner is clunky, he's always confused and often talks to me like a small child. Despite all this, he really is very pretty. Not really handsome, but there's something soft feminine about his smooth skin, his blue eyes and long eyelashes, his silky hair and slender body. The way he laughs just makes him look even more appealing. Really, it's exactly like a character from one of my comics, walking around in reality. I imagine even if he and I were walking together in a snowstorm, he wouldn't leave footprints. That's how slight and slender his physique is. Please don't tell him that, because you're just going to emasculate him. You're like a fairy! If he were in an idol group, I'd definitely have his poster on my bedroom wall. Wasn't it inevitable that I would end up liking this guy, simply by him being around me so often? I'm starting to feel shy and painfully aware of how unattractive I must look in comparison to my oversized pajamas and messy hair. Lady, you're 14, you just puked everywhere, and he kind of admitted he's got a thing for you despite having a wife and kids. You're doing alright. Just don't ruin the family. I'm sorry, I just forget sometimes how delicate you can be given how stubborn you act. He's teasing me.
Delicate, I'm just...
Although you can act so cruel, that's not how you're really like, are you? It's a defense mechanism.
Don't try to psychoanalyze me. That's not what I'm in here for. There's nothing wrong with my head.
There's nothing wrong with it at all. I never said that. I think you're very charming.
Charming?
A very pretty young lady.
Lady?
This may be the first time he's called me that, and not just kid.
What earth are you saying? That's definitely improper.
Well, maybe. But you tease me so often, I thought I should return the favor.
Yeah, it's not like I'm not pretty.
I frown and I look down at myself, picking at my clothes in distaste.
How was watching me vomit into a bowl pretty anyway? You're just saying that to make me feel better. I don't like empty compliments.
God, sometimes it is more difficult to compliment a woman and get her to accept it than to, land on the moon. He smiles at me gently. Now it's true, you really are. I don't give empty compliments either, you know? March 20th. Sometimes I feel flattered that he seems to be attracted to a girl like me. It certainly makes my dull life slightly more interesting. At other times, however, I feel slightly disgusted, like, how dare you act like you're interested in me when there's more than a 10-year age gap between us and you're my doctor? That's disgusting! With so much spare time, I have a great deal of freedom to contemplate these two opposing viewpoints. Today I'm in a bad mood. My head hurts, my body feels weak, and I'm unable to eat anything solid. There's a sharp pain in my stomach, and all I want to do is sleep. Even though he says I'm beautiful, I don't feel beautiful at all. It feels like a lie. Is everything he says just a lie to comfort the stupid, pathetic, ugly girl before she finally dies and disappears from this world? Your big problem, lady, is insecurity. I know, because I have insecurity. I have no security. Sometimes I don't trust him. I feel angry and used. This is one of those days. Hey, you don't look so good today. Do you have a bad dream? You're not in a talkative mood? That's fine. I understand.
Hey.
Finally, I speak, looking up at him weakly, unable to display my irritation properly through my failing body I speak.
What is it?
Does your wife know about this?
Oh, how far did they go? I asked the question bluntly. It catches him off guard, as I hoped, and he turns to look at me, slightly troubled, and a slightly troubled expression on his pretty face. I bet his wife is pretty too. Pretty people attract other pretty people. Because I'm still 14, awkward and gawky, and going through my growth spurt, I can never catch up.
My wife? What's she have to do with this?
He asked the question lightly. I think he knows I'm in a bad mood. He doesn't want to antagonize me. Even so, I'm not to be deterred.
I think it's obvious what she has to do with this, given that you're having a relationship with one of your patients, an underage girl to be precise.
Does that mean he actually did it? He, did her? It's strange. Even though I was the one who daydreamed about this relationship, even though I was the one who tried to instigate it, I still want him to feel guilty about it. I'm confused. I don't know what I want. Everything is too complicated for me. If he says I don't think we're having a relationship, I feel hurt and betrayed. If he says we're having a relationship, I feel disgusted and used. I don't know which one I want. However, he says neither. His gaze focused on the cherry tree outside the window, and he starts to talk.
My wife and I, lately we haven't been getting along so well. Maybe it's stress or overwork, I don't know. But it's pretty stifling there.
Is your wife pretty?
Yeah, I think she is. She's a very beautiful person. She's good at dressing herself. She usually puts her arms through the armholes. That's a success, I guess. She always looks very sharp. She certainly stands out. Maybe that's what drew me to her. I mean, a shy person like me, when she showed an interest, I didn't stand a chance.
Shy? You're not shy.
I was terribly so. All throughout my teenage years, I was very awkward. I didn't have many friends, and it's a little embarrassing. But I never imagined I'd ever have a girlfriend, much less that I'd get married.
Where did you meet your wife?
At medical school, we attended the same classes together, and she started talking to me. I was so nervous. I was stuttering so much she could hardly understand me. But she thought it was cute.
How long have you been together?
7 years now, and married for 3. I don't know if the married life is so suitable for us, though.
Why?
Because we're together all the time. It's hard to say. Maybe we'd get along better at a distance than always side by side. It's certainly no fault of hers. We maybe are just quite different. She enjoys large social gatherings and parties, and I'm a bit of a recluse.
I can relate to the recluse part.
That doesn't seem like such a big problem.
No, maybe it isn't.
But you're still risking your marriage with a woman you've been with for 7 years to play at being my boyfriend?
He sighs. He presses his finger against the window pane and stares out at the fallen cherry blossoms. I can see his reflection in the window. Even though his back is turned at me, he looks sad. Maybe there are more problems with his marriage than he's confided in me. Maybe he really has a legitimate reason to feel so melancholy. But I don't know what those are. He won't tell me. Maybe he thinks I won't understand.
Sometimes it just feels a little difficult, that's all. Having a family is a lot of responsibility.
So I'm your escape? You go along with my wishes so you can forget your real-world obligations? Isn't that pathetic?
He doesn't turn around. Instead, he closes his eyes and lets his forehead fall against the window with a soft thud.
Maybe. Even though I'm supposedly an adult, I don't feel like one at all. I have no idea what I'm doing.
I hope you're just playing it, boyfriend, because it wouldn't be right for you to actually cheat on your wife, even though I do like the chick in the story.
I wonder when it is that you become an adult anyway. Is it when you get married, have a child? I don't know.
Oh, maybe it's him.
I wonder, when is it that you become an adult anyway? When you get a child, you get married? I don't know. I don't know at all. I'm just pretending that I do.
I feel no sympathy as I watch him.
You're pathetic.
I know.
Wow, that escalated quickly.
Hey, big sister. Look, I drew a picture of you for your birthday, look.
I smile as my little sister thrusts a piece of paper in my face. A hastily drawn doodle of me, scribbled in thick wax crayon lines, drawn with a shaky hand. My parents don't let my little sister see me often because they think I'll be too tired. However, it seems my days are really numbered. I'm getting more and more exhausted. Probably by next week, my body will have given up altogether, so this may be the last time my little sister will see me. That's why she's here, to say goodbye. That's sad.
Don't be so loud. Don't be so loud. You upset your big sister. Try to be more adult.
My mother scolds, but I don't care. I like seeing my little sister. She's the only one who doesn't look at me in such a pitying way. She doesn't understand my illness, so she can treat me the same as she always does. To her, I'll always be her big sister. I'm glad for that. Some things never change. I don't know, that's the blessing of having a sibling. That's why I love my brother. There's some things that no matter what, you just have that bond. You can go like right back to it no matter how many years you're apart. You see each other again.
It's okay, don't worry about it, I'm fine. I like your picture, it's very cute. You've really improved.
Yay, knew you would understand, huh? Look, it's you, big sis.
I pretend to examine the picture, one hand under my chin like a real art critic.
Well, of course, me, it's a masterpiece. How amazing.
I praise her cheerfully in the most carefree and natural sounding tones I've produced in a while. My sister seems to be delighted by this as a wide smile spreads across her face.
Yay, I'm amazing! I'm amazing! Yay!
I don't know what the Xena yells about. My sister skips around for a little, delighted at my compliment, before she finally turns to me.
So, big sis, when are you coming home? I miss you!
I flinched slightly, of course. I was expecting this question, but...
Your big sister isn't well at the moment, sweetie. She won't come home.
My little sister stares at my mother, her head tilted to one side, clearly confused.
You won't come home?
I wince. How do I explain this to her? Last time my mother and I tried, she started to cry.
No, I don't think so.
You don't like me anymore? You won't come back?
It's not because I don't like you.
My sister looks at me, her lower lip wobbling. She has the expression of somebody who's been betrayed. It was the exact same face she wears when her favorite character in this cute, magical girl anime gets into a pinch, and the episode ends in a cliffhanger. She throws a tantrum too, but in that scenario, there's always a happy ending. Even though my sister is fairly tiny for age, she doesn't need to strain her neck to look at me as she used to. That's because lately she's only ever seen me sitting in bed. This difference, ever so slight, only serves to make everything seem more peculiar.
Is it because I always eat your pudding? Is that why you don't want to come home?
It's not that, it's just...
Then is it because I always watch the TV? Is it because it's too loud? Is it because I broke the doll Grandma gave you?
You broke that? When did you?
She was playing with it yesterday and she dropped it, my mother explains. I told her not to, but you know how she is.
My sister hangs her head, looking ashamed.
I didn't mean to. It just slipped. It was an accident. If you're mad about it, I won't do it again. I'll be careful. I promise. I won't touch your things. So can you come home? Can't you?
I frowned, picking up my duvet, not sure what to say. I don't think there's anything I could say.
It's not that easy.
But I made you that drawing. You need to come back. If I make the drawing, you'll come back.
My little sister is starting to get rowdy now. She must have worked so hard on that drawing, laboring under the belief that it would somehow have magical powers to bring me back home. Yet it wasn't effective. She doesn't understand why, but it wasn't. Of course she'd get grumpy. It only seems natural. When you have your expectations betrayed, it's only normal to be upset. That's how I felt when I ended up here, after all.
No fair. You're being mean to me, big sis. You're mean. I worked so hard and you're not even trying to get better. You're not trying.
My mother jumps to her feet and takes hold of my sister's hand, shaking her.
It's not your sister's fault. She's trying. Some things are just... No, she's not trying. It's not fair. It's not fair. Look, stop shouting. She'll give you
the voice is melted on.
Look, she's not shouting. You'll give her you stop shouting. You're going to give her a headache. I don't care. I hate her. I don't want her to come home anymore. It's there.
I know my sister's only little. I know she doesn't really understand what she's saying. Even so, those words, they're painful. Is it really the case that I wasn't trying hard enough? Maybe I gave in too easily and selfishly only thought of myself. This whole time I've been making things difficult for other people based on my own whims, and never once have I thought about others. This maybe is exactly what I deserve. March 24th.
Did you know it's my birthday?
Or is that the doctor?
No, I didn't. Happy birthday, kid.
It's hardly happy in this scenario.
I know. It was a careless thing for me to say.
No, it's okay.
I feel tired after seeing my little sister a few days ago. I'm completely exhausted. I think I'm ready. It feels as though there's no point. Right now, there's no point at all, so I just want to die and stop inconveniencing everybody around me by stubbornly clinging on to life I no longer have a right to. I don't want to talk in circles with my doctor today. Instead, I just want to sleep. Everything hurts too much.
It would be sad, though, if I never got to go outside before I died.
I'm staring up at my ceiling, talking more to myself than anyone. I don't expect my voice to carry across the room. Like the rest of me that's also withered away, I swear I'm speaking more quietly now than I used to. Even so, he still hears it, although it wasn't directed at him, he heard it. Maybe he considers it his duty to hear it. You want to go outside?
Maybe. I don't know, I want to see the cherry blossoms. Maybe if I see them falling off the tree into the ground, it'll give me enough of a push to go along with them.
I laugh bitterly in a self-deprecating way, and then cough as my tight chest tightens.
There. It's okay. It's okay.
In an instant, as though it is the most natural thing in the world, he's by my side, gently pressing his hand against my back. His touch is comforting, and I find my cough subsiding, though I'm left trembling, my body feeling as precarious as the Tower of Cards. I feel like I could fall apart at any second.
You know, I'm beginning to feel like it's okay.
Oh, you know, I'm beginning to feel like "it's okay" could be your catchphrase.
I don't know if I meant it bitterly or not. I was just talking it for the sake of talking. Still he smiles. Oh wait, she said that. Damn it!
Maybe for a doctor, it's not a very inspired catchphrase, though, is it?
How about you can trust me, I'm a doctor?
I think that's even more cliche.
You're right. I guess being original is way harder than it looks.
Don't lose hope, kid. You'll get there one day.
I don't know if I have any days left.
Let's not think about that right now, then.
Why? There's no point in running away from reality.
But it's your birthday. Don't you want to think about something cheerier?
It's kind of hard being cheery in my position.
Then let's see, because I didn't buy you a present, why don't you think of something you want to do? I'll try and make it come true.
You're gonna legalize euthanasia now?
I was thinking of something more happy.
Nothing would make me happier than getting out of here as soon as possible.
So you want to get out?
Huh?
I blink at him, surprised. In my foul mood, I was only making a joke in bad taste, but it seems like he took me seriously. He's looking at me intently, not in the way a doctor would look at a patient, or so I'd like to believe, but maybe in the way that a person in love would look at the person they care about the most? Or maybe that's just wishful thinking. After all, I don't know what it feels like to be in love anyway.
Alright, if you want to go outside and look at the cherry blossoms, we can. I can arrange it.
Really?
And of course, we were all slightly hesitant about taking you outside given how delicate your condition is, but now?
Now I'm nearly dead, there's no point in worrying anymore.
Well, I wasn't going to say it like that, but it would seem boorish refusing a wish on your birthday.
I shake my head and smile, just a little.
Don't say that word. Nobody says that word.
What word?
Boorish. It makes you sound like an old man, and that's disgusting.
She just likes toying with him. I sigh softly, a slight exhale of air, barely more than a whisper. To feel the wind against my skin, it's a simple sensation, yet I didn't realize how much I missed it these past couple of months. Everything around me smells so fresh and green, so full of life. The small garden in the hospital is truly beautiful, a square of grass with a little path running through it, and the blooming cherry blossom trees dotted here and there. The pink blossoms flutter in the breeze, detaching from the trees and spiraling downwards through the clear blue sky, resting on the ground like heart-shaped tears. I feel more energetic than I have done in a while, simply being outside under the blue sky, even if I am sat in a wheelchair, my duvet wrapped around my bony shoulders.
Do you like it?
He stands beside me, his white coat fluttering gently in the breeze, a relaxed smile on his face. I open my mouth, but I can't formulate words. This sight so simple has literally stolen my breath. I can't gather my thoughts into words. They scatter like dandelion clocks, lost in the breeze. My mouth opens and closes in the shape of a small O for a while. Before finally giving up on fighting this losing battle, I nod my head.
I'm glad. Spring is really pretty, isn't it?
It is. It really is.
Finally able to talk, I find myself repeating his words, feeling faintly silly for doing so.
I didn't realize how nice it is.
Or, I didn't realize how nice it was.
Maybe I didn't either.
Whatever.
What do you mean?
I mean, I'm lucky enough to see these sights.
What? I'm so confused. Who is who?
I mean, I'm lucky enough to see these sights every day, and yet, because they became a part of my regular life, they stopped seeming so special. Being with you makes me feel, maybe, I've been taking everything for granted? Maybe I was acting selfish? I giggle a little.
What kind of melodramatic rubbish is this anyway? You sound like a dead poet.
It's true.
And one of the most annoying dead poets, too. Romanticizing people with illnesses like that. We don't exist simply to make you understand the beauties of the world, you know? We're people too, not fantasies.
He flushes a little at my light admonishing words. It feels like our roles have been reversed somewhat. I'm almost tempted to call him kid. Maybe he really is more childish than I thought. Then again, how does anybody gauge how adult somebody is anyways? Perhaps these notions of being an adult and being a child don't really matter all that much. In actuality, it's probably more realistic to say that everybody is scared. Nobody knows what to do all the time, but still they persevere on, and even if life seems frightening at times, sights like this can make everything seem worthwhile, even for a small moment. Now I'm starting to sound like an obnoxious dead poet too. I shake my head at myself.
Why are you outside with me anyway? It's not like I don't appreciate the gesture, but this can't be alright.
He runs a hand through his hair, distracted.
Well, there aren't so many people here at the moment, and although it's a little cheeky of me, I asked another doctor to look at one of my patients today. I explained that I wanted to go outside and,
Didn't they suggest a nurse accompany me?
They did, but I said you insisted I did it.
And they didn't mind?
Well, given your condition, I think they didn't mind bending the rules just this once, if that was what you wanted.
I look up at the blue sky, head tilted back.
Because I'm gonna die soon is what you mean?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Thank you. I really would rather you just say it. I've already had enough time to make peace with the idea, so I'm not upset. Not anymore.
Kid?
I see the fluffy white clouds drifting along. Even though they're aimless, they seem content enough. It must be nice to be able to disappear into the sky like that, to become a cloud. I think I would enjoy that kind of easy-paced life.
Still, there is at least one more thing I want to do.
Or is that her?
Still, there's one more thing I want to do.
Oh, and what's that?
I close my eyes a little. I'm a little embarrassed about asking for such a thing, but right now, at this moment, it doesn't really seem to matter at all. I guess nothing really matters, does it? Sometimes this thought can be frightening. It can make people think, then, for what purpose am I living? Why do I bother waking up in the morning if nothing matters? But if you're in my situation, then the fact that nothing matters and life goes on regardless makes me feel just a little like, dying wouldn't be that bad after all. So even though I still feel a little shy, I'm finally able to say it.
I want to be kissed just once before I die.
Kid?
Do you really think you should be calling me kid under these circumstances?
I tease him gently, a faint sing-song tone to my voice. I can tell he's feeling uncomfortable, but I'm beyond the point of caring.
Please, this is my one last selfish request. For my birthday, I want to be kissed by a pretty guy who makes me happy. You're the only one here who fits that description.
My eyes are still closed, but I'm sure he's blushing. I can almost hear it in his voice.
Maybe I should feel a little upset that you're only asking me of this because I'm the only person available?
Well, that's partially it. But I wouldn't ask at all if I didn't like you.
Kid,
I really do like you. Even when I was in a bad mood, or I was angry, or I was mean to you, you still stood by my side.
That's because I'm your doctor. It's my job.
I know. But when you played games with me and told me jokes and said I was pretty, that didn't feel like it was just a job. It felt like you really cared about me.
Of course I care. I have to have a heart of stone not to.
I don't know. I could be quite a brat.
Yes, you can, but it's understandable. And a little bit of brattiness can be fun, too.
But if you grant me this one last wish, I promise I won't be a brat again. I promise. I just want to be kissed by somebody I love under the cherry blossoms.
You love me?
I don't know. I don't really understand the word. I'm probably too young, but I know I like you.
It's because I'm the only person around for you to latch on, kid. I don't know. It's not the same as love.
It's the closest I'll ever get to it.
Look.
Just for my birthday? It's something I always wanted to experience, so please, I won't have another chance.
I finally opened my eyes, looking at him imploringly. At some point he moved, no longer by my side, but crouched before me. His face all of a sudden looks very close. His eyes seem to be filled with tears.
Oh, kid, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I know you wouldn't want your first kiss to be with an old man like me, and I know I really shouldn't, It's not right.
It isn't right, but it isn't right what's happening to me either. It isn't right, I'm dying. At this point, who cares about right and wrong?
You're quite good at arguing, aren't you? I give him a childish smile.
It's one of my special talents.
Oh, kid, He breathes in deeply, wiping away the tears from his eyes as he does so. I don't love you, kid. I can't. I feel strongly about you, but I do care. But love, I can't pretend that I do. Even though I argue with my wife a lot, she's still my wife. Being together for 7 years isn't the same as a relationship between a doctor and patient that's only lasts 3 months.
It's okay. I already know that. I wasn't asking you to love me. I couldn't be that selfish, but...
I reached out, hands trembling, and gently cupped his face in my hands. It's only now, for the first time, I realized just how tiny my fingers have become. Just how slender and diminished they are. I can see my bones through my skin. I look gaunt, on the verge of death. Right now, I really do look like a kid. A small, lonely child who doesn't understand anything about the world. It's our age difference. Is our age difference really that big? Were we really that distant from each other the whole time? Even so, it doesn't matter. Nothing really matters. I smile and repeat the phrase he told me last winter when the snow was falling outside my window.
But every person needs a cheap little escapism from time to time.
He looks at me, his eyes wide, eyelashes still wet from tears. His cheeks are wet too. Even though he says he doesn't love me, he still cares for me enough to cry for me. And that, I think, is more than enough.
Oh, kid. Don't call me that, please. Call me by name. At least this one time.
I wonder if his constant use of kid was a way to distance himself from me so he didn't have to think of me as a real human being. It's possible, but right now I won't let him escape. I want him to say my name. I want to hear it from his lips, just once. He swallows, the noise audible, and then he opens his mouth. All right, Karuta.
Thank you for using my real name just once.
It's, no problem. You don't need to thank me.
But I want to anyway. You've done so much for me, even though I was sometimes in a bad mood and acted horribly. I must have been difficult for you to deal with. But even so, you stood by me. I can't begin to tell you how thankful I am.
This isn't like you. Don't worry about it. It might be true that taking care of you is my job, but I really do care about you. You know?
I know.
And with that, he reaches forwards and very gently presses his lips against mine. The end. Oh, it was a sweet kiss, and hopefully nobody saw and he doesn't go to prison. And that, everybody, if any of you sat through the whole thing, I thank you. That was quite an emotional roller coaster. I love the writing in it. This is White Box. I hope to put a link in the description to it if you want to check it out or support the creator. It was really good, I thought. Yeah. And sadly, she's going to pass away, but at least she got that kiss. That doesn't make up for it, but this is a really good story. Thanks for watching, everybody.